I knew that like Batman was going to be the one that was acting out in a kind of more like the difference between revenge and justice is one of the sort of questions that is asked by the film, and I felt like that inherently made him feel more sort of viscerally angry.
When I last talked about Batman v Superman on this channel, I discussed Superman's flat character arc, how he changes the world around him for the better with the truth that he believes, and how some critics of the movie might be missing that element of his character. But in this video I want to discuss the other side of this movie, the titular character who does in fact believe the lie that the world does, and as a cause of this lie has become a fallen hero, Batman.
How many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
Now, of all the many things people argue about in this movie, the portrayal of Batman is probably one of the most debated. A lot of people didn't really like this version of the character for a number of reasons. The most prominent reason being that this Batman kills. I mean, those same people are over the moon that Michael Keaton's Batman is coming back. Yeah, that guy ain't walking that off. And you know what? I'm gonna level with you here. As much as I actually like Batfleck, even I'm not a huge fan that this Batman kills, because it's such a huge departure from the character. Any Batman fan will tell you that Batman does not kill. And not only that, this Batman's drinking excessively, branding criminals, not living in Wayne Manor. Who is this guy? These are all very un-Batman-y traits. How did Snyder and Terrio get it so wrong? Well, here's the thing. They didn't. I know I just listed a bunch of examples of how this isn't a faithful Batman adaptation, but the thing is, that's the point. All of these un-Batmanerisms that characterizes this version are meant to hammer in the fact that he's lost his way, that he's forgotten how to be a hero, that he's fallen. I'm not saying it's perfect, I'm just saying it's what they were going for. So let's dive in and take a look at what makes this Batman, Batman. The movie opens with one of the most important moments in the entire Batman mythology, and maybe the entire DC mythology, the death of Bruce Wayne's parents. Now, we've seen this moment in live action many times now, from Burton, Nolan, Cannon, and even recently Todd Phillips. But Snyder's version of this scene stands out to me personally. The use of slow motion, the editing, the score. This scene is treated like an epic moment in history, a hyper memory that's been burned into Bruce Wayne's psyche. We see Bruce powerless to stop two people he loves from dying, feeling a tremendous amount of guilt over it. But what this scene really does is set up Batman's arc. It's all about Bruce falling. The scene is intercut with Bruce at their funeral, trying to run away from the guilt he feels about his parents' death, but he ends up falling down a hole in the ground. And it cuts to his father falling after being shot because he tried to fight against Joe Chill. This act of violence and anger caused him more harm than good. You see where I'm getting at? Bruce's mum, Martha, also gets shot and her pearl necklace is destroyed. The pearls have always been an important part of Batman comics. The necklace always gets destroyed in just about every version of the Wayne's murders, and it's meant to symbolize Bruce's pure and beautiful life shattering. But the pearls here have another meaning. You see, once Martha falls, Bruce hits the ground and has officially fallen. But then Thomas pulls a Citizen Kane and whispers,
Martha.
Rosebud.
Once this happens, one of Martha's pearls falls down the gutter and lands next to Bruce in the cave. And this is where Snyder says, screw it, we're going surreal. The way this scene's cut is to show how much Bruce has fallen, but geographically he's lower than his parents, but as soon as the pearl lands in front of Bruce, he's able to get up. And then he's swarmed by bats, who lift him out of the cave and into the light.
Okay, it's happening!
The memory of his mother helps him get back up, which allows him to embrace the bats, symbolizing him taking on the role of Batman, and how that helps him rise again. Becoming Batman saves Bruce from falling. A little bizarre and crazy when you watch it, but it gets the point across. So to sum up, Bruce witnesses a tragedy that he was powerless to stop. The guilt of that causes him to fall, but the memory of his mother allows him to rise again. Do you see where I'm getting at here? And then the scene is followed by the finale of Man of Steel. Only this time, it's from the point of view of Bruce Wayne, a mortal man witnessing these gods do battle and seeing the chaos that ensues. Once again, Bruce is powerless to do anything about it. He rushes to the building that he owns whilst talking to one of his employees, trying to make sure everyone is safe. But all he can do is watch as the building collapses and anyone left in the building dies. The scene ends with Bruce holding a recently orphaned girl and looking up at the sky to see Superman fighting Zod. This is Bruce's new wound that will dictate his actions throughout this movie. The camera pulls away from Bruce whilst looking down on him. He is back in that cave that he fell into as a child. Bruce has officially fallen. And this event changes the way he acts as Batman. The Batman we see in this movie is unlike any other interpretation we've seen before. The first scene we get with Batman, we see just how badly Bruce's wound has affected him. Batman is seen less as a hero and more like a monster. So much so that when the police try to release the trafficking victims that he's saved, they close the gate out of fear, and is referred to by them as a devil. He even brands the human trafficker who was harboring the women, a brand that we'd later find out leads to a death sentence in prison. Batman has fallen so much that he terrifies even the people he's trying to help, and is allowing criminals to be killed. Something that huge Batman fans would know goes against Batman's ethical code. Even when confronted about this from Alfred, Bruce denies that anything has changed, in complete denial that he's fallen, and shrugs it off as if everything was the same as before, to which Alfred hits him with the reality bomb.
That's how it starts, sir. The fever, the rage, the feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel.
But Bruce still refuses to listen. All of this is done to show the audience one thing. In this story, Batman is the villain. His wound witnessing the Battle of Metropolis has reinforced the lie that he now believes. The same lie I mentioned in my Superman video, that nothing can progress, that good is only temporary, and eventually everything falls. Bruce has spent 20 years as Batman and believes he has accomplished so little. Gotham is still the same, crime hasn't gone down, and when it came to a huge world-ending event, he was powerless to do anything about it, and feels guilty as a result. And because of this, Bruce has become apathetic. He no longer cares about others, and is resorting to horrific extremes to get the job done, as he no longer sees the good in others, and is committing horrible acts of violence that are causing more harm than good. Kinda like his dad in the flashback. This is even shown when he's told that Lex Luthor has important information that he needs. He immediately wants to put on the suit and break into Luthor's mansion, but Alfred explains that he's already been invited to Lex's mansion, and we see just how uncomfortable he is as Bruce Wayne, how he has to put on an act that he's not happy with. He would prefer to be a monster than a man. Now we've seen this done in a lot of Batman movies and games, how Bruce feels more comfortable as a spirit of vengeance than a billionaire playboy, but this movie has a unique twist to it. We've seen earlier on how Bruce Wayne is a side of him that cares about people, that he goes out of his way to help others, but that empathetic side of himself couldn't stop the destruction of Metropolis, and so Bruce no longer feels comfortable as himself, and the role of Batman helps him disconnect from all that. That's why he's left his mansion and is living in some lake house. His ancestral home that represents his family is left to rot, acting as a metaphor for Bruce's disconnection from his humanity. And this is why he sees Superman as a threat. He's witnessed the destruction someone like Superman can cause, and, if good is temporary, it's not a question of if Superman will turn on the world, but when. If even he can fall into apathy, Superman surely will too. Bruce sees destroying Superman as his way to redemption, to atone for failing to save more lives in Metropolis that day. He calls defeating Superman,
This may be the only thing I do that matters.
he's broken away from the traditional Batman goal of fighting crime. And in turn, this apathy and cruelty is what puts Batman on Superman's radar, because Superman is a paragon of good. Seeing Batman's horrific actions causes Superman to view him as a criminal, and so he goes after him, both as Superman and as Clark Kent. This is perfectly shown at the gala scene where the characters meet for the first time. Clark talks to Bruce on his views of Batman, explaining how Batman is terrorizing Gotham, but Bruce just replies,
Considering every time your hero saves a cat out of a tree, you read a puff piece editorial about an alien who, if he wanted to, could burn the whole place down. There wouldn't be a damn thing we could do to stop it.
showing just how blinded he is to his own actions and how biased he has become towards someone who's actually trying to do good. And all this culminates in their final showdown, with a fallen hero looking up to a god and bringing him down to his level. I know the quality of the fight is a little contested, so I'll leave you all to discuss that. Comment responsibly. But the thing that everyone has a strong opinion of is the ending of the fight. Batman finally has Superman at his mercy. He's about to destroy the being that's caused him so much grief, the being who will one day turn on the world. But then suddenly,
You're letting him. kill Martha!
And now, Bruce is taken back to that night, the night where it all started, and is reminded of why he became Batman in the first place. Batman exists so no one has to suffer the pain that Bruce went through, and now he sees himself not standing triumphant over a cruel god, but over a man who desperately wants to save his mother. Bruce finally sees that he's the villain. He even stumbles back as if waking up from a bad dream, and angrily throws away the weapon he was going to use to kill Superman, helping him back up on his feet and vowing to help him save his mother in a very short amount of time. Look, it has its problems, but it's not as bad as people say it is. And so Bruce goes to rescue Martha in one of the most awesome Batman scenes in history. So in summary, a tragic event occurs, Bruce's guilt over it causes him to fall, but the memory of his mother helps him to rise again and become a hero once more. You see where I'm getting at here? But unfortunately, the movie ends the same way it begins, with a world-ending event, Doomsday coming to life and wreaking havoc. Only this time, instead of being a spectator that can't help, Bruce is actually assisting and aids Superman in defeating the creature. Superman takes the weapon that Batman made to kill him, a weapon of evil, and uses it as a force for good against Doomsday. You see, it's a metaphor for how Superman's good nature changed Batman for the better, which kind of feels like something I should have mentioned in my Superman video. Well, I'm saying it now. Superman sacrifices himself to save humanity, and Bruce is left with the aftermath. Only this time, the camera looks up at him instead of down. He's no longer fallen, and is once again a hero, vowing to continue Superman's legacy with a brand new sense of optimism and hope in the world, which we get to see play out in Justice League, where Bruce unites a bunch of superheroes to defend the Earth in the absence of Superman. Zack Snyder's Batman is a very controversial interpretation, and yeah, to a degree, I get it. This Batman is a far cry from the character we all know, but that was kinda the point. He's meant to shock and horrify you. Snyder wanted to show a dark and dreary world that was going to be made better through Superman, and using Batman as a representation of that world was actually kinda genius. Batman is the most human superhero, and for him to go through this positive change arc really helps to show how the world can change for the better. This isn't a famous character being completely rewritten for no reason at all. There's a genuine point to be made. It was a huge risk on Snyder and Terrio's part, and fans have argued whether or not they've pulled it off for, oh my god, 7 years? But I think this is an amazing Batman story, and while we may never see Batfleck again, I'm still happy we had him in the first place. Hey everyone, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like. I'll be posting a new video in a few weeks, and here's a sneak preview for that.
My name is Miles Morales. I'm Brooklyn's one and only Spider-Man.
So if you're interested in seeing that, please subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good day.